One of the nice things about QuickBooks is that it comes with many standard reports. Now, one feature I want you to be aware of is that most reports have what's called a drill down capability. If you were to hover over certain items on a report, you will see what looks like a magnifying glass with a Z in it for zoom. If you were to double click on that item, it will take you to the detail. So for example, right now I'm on the profit and loss, the income statement. If I double click over a field, it will take me to the general ledger for that specific account. Here I'm on a field for the vendor contact list. If I were to double click here, it will take me to the detailed record for the vendor. Very often you'll find you'll save a lot of time if you look at reports and then from those reports drill down to the detail. I just find that's a very helpful way to approach many things in QuickBooks. Let's talk about how to add fields to a QuickBook report. The standard reports have certain fields on them automatically, but what if you would like some additional fields to show? We go to Customize Report. Here under the Columns section, any item that has a check mark beside it is going to show on the report. Any item that doesn't have a check mark beside it is not going to show on the report. So we could come here and add a check mark to other fields. Tell it OK. And now you'll see that these additional fields will show in our report. What if you want to omit certain fields from the report? Well, again, back to Customize Reports. Take the check marks away, and they will no longer show. Now, once you've modified the report, if you would like to save the report with this additional information, you need to memorize the report. Give it a new name, something other than the original report name, and then tell it OK. Next time when you go to Reports, you can go here to Memorize Reports, and you'll see here that I have a memorized report list, and there's my new report. I can also, when I go to memorize that report, I can place it in a group as well. It doesn't automatically just have to go in the Memorize group. I could tell it if it relates, for example, to the accountant group. I can tell it OK. When I go to Reports, Memorized Reports, now you'll see that I have added it to the accountant group. Something else you might want to change on a report is the order in which that report is sorted. We go to Customize Report, Sort By, click the downward arrow, and you can tell it how you would like to sort these transactions. We can sort, in this case I'm going to change its type. It can be in ascending or descending order. Tell it OK, and now this is my primary sort order. We can also change the time period that a report covers. It will cover a certain period by default. We can come back and change that. This one covers by default month to date. We can go back and change it to whatever we might want it to be. Or we can individually specify the beginning date and then the ending date if you don't see in the drop-down list what it is you're looking for. We can also restrict what shows on the report to only items that meet certain conditions. Let's go to Customize Report again, and here we go to Filters. Now this is something I'm going to have you do quite a bit on your projects and tests, because I think it's nice to be able to look at certain groups of transactions on a report. Now that would be over here under Transaction Type. Notice by default, I'm in a journal right now, it's showing everything. I can click the downward arrow beside all, and maybe I just want to see invoices. Tell it OK. And now you'll see all that's appearing on my list are my invoices. Let's suppose that you wanted multiple transaction types to appear on a report. Well, let's go back and filter it by transaction type, but this time let's select multiple transaction types. Here I could cause my checks and my bill payments to appear. And you see that I have these two type transactions on my report. So again, to recap on that one, sometimes students have trouble finding that. We go under the filter to multiple types, and we check off all the ones that we would like to have appear. When you're doing that, always scroll down the list to make sure there's nothing still showing on the report, maybe from the previous time you looked at it to now. If it does, you need to take it away. We can also adjust the width of fields on our reports. We can, you see these little small diamonds or circles between the fields. If I hover over them, you see my mouse looks like there's an arrow going one way and then a line going the other. If I drag one way or the left, if I drag it to the left, it's going to make that field narrower. If I were to drag it to the right, it's going to make that field wider. We can always come and change the title of our report. That's done under header or footer. We can call this my cash disbursements journal because it includes my checks and my bill payments. And now you'll see my title has changed. We can also change the orientation of my report from landscape to portrait or vice versa. We can come here to Print, Report, and here we can change it from portrait to landscape, vice versa. I also want you to notice down here on the screen, this is what I really like, this one feature about QuickBooks, is usually when you're printing a report, you only want it to be 1 page in width. As a general rule, because otherwise you got to get out your tape and tape the pages together or hold them side by side, and that's difficult. Here we can specify that we want my report to fit to how many pages wide or how many pages high. Now I usually don't mark that for how many pages high because the length of the report depends upon how many items are on it, but I usually will mark that for the width of the report so that everything will fit to 1 page in width. And QuickBooks will automatically adjust the column widths as needed to get everything on that 1 page then. And that's modifying QuickBooks reports. QuickBooks comes with a number of nice standard reports, but it also is quite simple to come back and make changes to these reports to make them even more useful to you and your business.